Welcome to Oddball. I'm Charlotte Wilder. That's Amin Elhassan. And this is free agency, folks. We are in the thick of it. Amin, have you just been, is your head spinning?
No, because it's been boring. Not enough fireworks. Not enough like salacious breaking news. It's kind of been a little yawn-inducing, Charlotte.
All right. Did you find it boring that Klay Thompson went to the Dallas Mavericks? Because he is sent in a multi-team sign and trade to Dallas, 3-year, $50 million deal with a player option. This also sends Josh Green to Charlotte. LeBron reportedly called Klay at the start of free agency, and LA reportedly offered a 4-year, $80 million deal. And, Golden State plans on retiring Klay's number anyway, even though he's not sticking around, and posted this nice farewell of Klay on a boat, which felt pretty fitting because I feel like, doesn't he like kayaks to work and stuff? I mean,
he doesn't kayak to work. He's got a boat. He drives his boat. He's got a little captain's hat that he wears when he drives his boat. Be interesting to see how he gets that done in Dallas. They don't really have a whole lot of water down there, but no, I didn't find it interesting. I found it sad, Charlotte. It was inevitable, but sad nonetheless. I've told this story so many times over the years, but I remember watching the 2020 finals on TV, and my child sits down next to me and says, "What do you watch?" I said, "The NBA finals." And my child stares at the screen and says, "Where's Klay?" Because in my child's world, that there was no such thing as an NBA finals. They didn't have Klay and Steph and Draymond and Kevin Durant to some extent. Yeah. And so that branding, that strong brand of the Golden State Warriors, or this thing that represented success and eternal success, and the people most closely affiliated with it, Steph, Klay, and Dre, that they're not together anymore. I don't blame anybody. That's just how the world works, and that's how the league works. You move on. You have to move on. But there is something about it that's kind of like, man, I'm kind of going to miss seeing those guys all together again.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to feel real next year or until next year when we see them separated, because they are such an iconic trio. I mean, to me, this felt like, at first I was like, why couldn't they just figure out a way for Klay to stay there? Last year he was talking about how he was fine coming off of the bench. It was hard to accept that he wasn't the player he used to be, but he was okay with helping the younger generation. He understood how that role was important. But then he goes to the Mavs, and to me, this says like he is not willing to accept, or he still believes that he could win another championship. That like this is not if the Warriors have reached a point where they think that he's not the same Klay and he won't deliver, like Klay is not there at all.
Well, I mean, I would say that what the Warriors need, the version of Klay that the Warriors needed in order to compete for the championship, is a lot different from the version that the Mavericks need. The Mavericks have two very accomplished scorers in Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic. They have a very good, versatile defense that they've proven it. And they didn't just prove it in the regular season after those deals. They didn't just prove it in the playoffs. They proved it in the NBA Finals against the best offense that the sport has ever seen. Yeah. So Klay doesn't need to be 2016 Klay. Golden State kind of needs 2016 Klay. This old version of him was not good enough, especially not for the money that he was looking for from them. And there's a report from Anthony Slater that Klay told Steph, "Do not exert your influence here. I don't want them to pay me because you made them. I want them to pay me because they want to pay me." And the reality is they did not want to pay him what he thought he was worth. So he goes to Dallas, and I think he gives himself a chance to win a 5th championship. That's for sure. Now, how much of him they need, that remains to be seen. But we know that one thing that they were lacking desperately in those finals was someone who's just a bona fide, respected three-point threat. To even if he's struggling, I'm not going to help off of him to load up on Luka or Kyrie.
And he has the experience. They needed that. They needed, obviously they had Kyrie. That didn't work out in terms of the leadership that I think that they needed in terms of not getting all flustered. But I mean, we have to move on. We have to get to Paul George, signing with the Philadelphia 76ers. The 76ers also re-signed Tyrese Maxey. Paul George has a 4-year, $212 million contract. And I don't know, this felt sort of like what we thought was gonna happen. I mean, I wasn't shocked by this either. I guess this wasn't that surprising to me either.
Well, Paul George, I don't know if leading up to free agency, everyone had Philly on their bingo card. I know we knew that Philly had cleared out max space. We know they were going to get aggressive out there because Daryl Morey typically is an aggressive general manager. Now, I talked to Jake Fisher from Yahoo Sports, and Jake told me that this was Daryl Morey's plan all along, going back to the Harden deal, that I'm going to send Harden to the Clippers, and then I'm going to get all these expiring deals, and with my expiring deals, I'm going to clear the cap space to sign Paul George away from them, which is quite diabolical if you think about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the time, I was sort of like, wait, okay, Daryl Morey is just going to let James Harden go to, it felt like there was another thing coming. And that thing coming was that he was trying to ruin the Clippers from the inside out, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, but I think also there's a combination of his intention and also the Clippers coming to the realization on their own that this isn't working. And so, like, when we look at what the Clippers did, and especially when you look at that statement they put out, they've reached the point. It's 10 years under Steve Ballmer, and Steve Ballmer has finally reached the point where me being the richest owner, richer than the next 15 owners combined, it's not enough because this isn't a financial issue. This is the rules of the game of engagement dictate you cannot spend your way out of this.
Right.
And the new collective bargaining agreement has more and more punitive measures, including freezing of draft picks. Like, so the Clippers front office sat there and said, let's be honest, is this grouping going to win a championship? And they looked at each other and said, no. All right, then we need to get out of this situation to a more fiscally sound environment. Not because the money's too much for our guy to pay, but because the rules make it so that it's the only way we can do this the right way. You flip over to Philadelphia, and it's like, yeah, this is like I said, this is what they were looking for. And now they've got a great wing to go with a great guard and a great big. It remains to be seen how they fill out the rest of that roster, though. But it seems like our daddy over at DraftKings feels like they have great odds because they now have the second best odds to win the title, according to DraftKings, plus 800. Before these moves, or the move, I should say, to bring in Paul George, they were at plus 1,200, Charlotte.
Okay, I mean, level with me here. Am I correct? Is Paul George the reason that a team would now have the second best odds? Like, do you buy this?
I think odds making, as I remind people all the time, is not about what's the most likely thing that's going to happen. It's about what's the thing that most people are betting on, right? Okay. That's what it's telling you what the betting public thinks. It's not telling you what's going to happen. Right. And so this is reflective of people being excited about this move. But I mean, first of all, you got to look at the rest of that roster. It hasn't been fleshed out fully. They went out and got Eric Gordon and Andre Drummond. That doesn't move me. They brought back Kelly Oubre, which that was good. But again, they still got a ways to go before they fill out that roster. The other thing also is Embiid's health has been the reason why this team hasn't been a championship team, right? Number one. Number two is Embiid's so-so playoff resume. Now, you're telling me this is going to get cured by adding another guy whose health has been in question and also has a so-so playoff resume. I kind of find that a little bit hard to swallow. So, yeah, I'm with you in a little skepticism, like, all right, Sixers, relax. But again, this is less to do about what DraftKings thinks or what's going to happen and more to do with what people who bet on these things are saying with their money.
Well, it's also the Eastern Conference, right? You were saying in our production meeting, you're like, it's just open now. And I have to say, like, if Paul George had been on the Sixers, would the Knicks have won last year? I don't know, because even with the sort of hurt Embiid, they put up a really good fight. And then you have another weapon there, and it starts to seem like maybe they do have a pretty good shot of at least, doing well in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, so you look at the East, it's Boston, and then you take a step, and then it's the Knicks, who we'll talk about in a second, lost one of their best players. It's Cleveland, who have a new coach, and that's going to help, but to what extent? It's Orlando, who added KCP, but again, is he going to fix all their offensive woes? Not really. It's Milwaukee. God knows what another year and full training camp is going to do for them. Maybe it does a lot. Maybe it doesn't do anything. It's Miami, who haven't done anything of note other than draft a kid at 15th overall, and so on and so forth throughout the conference. You're like, compare and contrast to what Paul George had to deal with in the West, right? Because there were some rumors that he should go to Golden State. Like, to do what?
Right.
To fight the Thunder and the Wolves and the Mavericks, and here come the Rockets, and here come the Spurs, and here come the Pelicans if they're healthy, and they got DeJounte Murray. That's a headache every single night. But you come to the East, it's a little freer, and it's a little freer in part because of one of the big deals that's happened. The Knicks lost Isaiah Hartenstein. He went to Oklahoma City.
Yeah,
he signs a 3-year, $87 million deal with OKC. And this was one of those things where I told all my friends, the Knicks fans in my group chat, I told Cousin Proof, I told Elite, I told Zay, all these guys, like, all that's cool and well. Like, oh, these guys are friends, the power of friendship, like Charlotte said. But friendship ain't going to make up for $15 million more for one less year worth of work. So, and that's what he got.
Can you explain this? Because I've been surrounded by Knicks fans who are saying $87 million doesn't seem like a crazy amount of money. Why couldn't the Knicks just give him that? Can you tell people why? Because it's a little confusing.
Yeah, so Hartenstein was an early bird free agent. What that means is if you've been with the team for 3 years before your free agency, you are full bird rights. It means they can sign you for whatever. Max, whatever they want, you're good. If you've been with them for 2 years, you have this thing called early bird rights. And if you've been there for 1 year, you have this thing called non-bird rights. And each one of those other two, non-bird and early bird, they can give you a raise, but it's limited. For early bird, it's limited to 175% of what you made last year or the median salary in the league, whichever is larger.
Okay.
In this case, 175% of what he made last year was larger because he made about 9. So that gets him to about 16 and some change. So that means the Knicks could offer him a deal that starts at 16 and some change with 8% raises through the life of 4 years. That comes out to $72 million over 4 years. Even if they're like, oh, back up all the Brinks trucks, and they could not do anything. The only other way they could have paid him more is if they cleared out money under the cap and they signed him using cap space. Obviously, that's not an option when you go out and trade for Mikal Bridges and you give OG Anunoby $250 million.
Okay, well, our producers are writing ZZZ, like sleepy letters in the doc, but I wanted to know because I think Knicks fans are far more concerned about this and don't understand what's going on than people would think. But you know what? Let's leave New York. Let's go. Let me just be clear. The only choice was Isaiah Hartenstein's. Do you want to make a shit ton of money or do you want to be the power of friendship? And surprise, surprise, you want to make a lot of money. I don't know. I might choose friendship. Just kidding.
For a better team, by the way. Also play for a better team.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go to Cleveland because Donovan Mitchell is staying with the Cavs. He signs a 3-year, $150 million contract extension. And the final year is a player option. So he's potentially eligible for a 5-year, $380 million deal in 2027. I mean, people keep talking about Donovan Mitchell, and something that I think keeps getting lost is it's the 25-26 season that he's a free agent. Like all of this stuff is sort of happening early. And I don't know how easy Cleveland fans should breathe because I don't know how much this says about Mitchell's long-term future in Cleveland. Am I right? Am I wrong?
Yeah. So first of all, for fear of the producers hitting me with more Z's, we're diving back into contract talk, right? So Donovan Mitchell's existing deal had him under contract this year, and then he had a player option for next year. What they did was they tore up that player option year, and they added 3 more years in its place. So he's got this year, he's got next year, the first year of this new extension, he's got the year after that, and then the last year of that is a player option. So in essence, all we did was guarantee 2 more years past this year, as opposed to having just this year. Meaning, it's a little security, It's not, oh, he's here forever. I'm glad we got past that. Ultimately, this comes down to really, do they want to continue with Donovan Mitchell and give up on Darius Garland? Or do they want to stick with Darius Garland and move Donovan Mitchell because he might be a flight risk down the line? I suspect they're giving Kenny Atkinson, the new head coach, time to kind of evaluate the roster and see what he thinks and what he likes before they make a rash decision. But this gives them a little breathing room. It takes away some of the urgency of we got to do something right now, but it has not removed that specter of, hey, I don't know if the Donovan Mitchell and Cleveland experiment is going to work long term.
Okay. All right. I feel like there's a little bit more urgency on this one, which is Chris Paul to the Spurs. I mean, I was a little surprised by this. Not that he was released by the Warriors. We sort of saw that coming. He has signed in San Antonio for 1 year with an 11 million plus contract. And so, whenever our producers just say, read the script, I get a little nervous, but they say, I guess that means this scene isn't based on real life.
I want to win. I want to win. I want to win. Want my ring, man. Want my ring, yo.
I want to check. I want to check. I want to check. I want my 11 mil, yo. I
should have seen that coming. I really should have seen that coming. So, I mean, is Chris Paul giving up a ring to take more money than he would have gotten?
I mean, $11 million gets you a lot of Zales, I guess.
Yeah. Zales?
No, I mean, look, Zales, yeah. It's a jewelry store at the mall. They sell rings. No? You've never heard of Zales?
Damn it. No, I'm more of an every kiss begins with K girl myself.
Every kiss begins with K.
Brilliant marketing slogan. People don't talk about it because it's K, the letter, but also K Jewelers.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Every kiss does begin with K and also K-A-Y.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on now. You think those Spurs are going to win a championship?
No.
Today? This year? No one thinks that. Not even Chris Paul. No, he's going because of two reasons, right? Number one is, and again, shout out to Jake Fisher, who brought this up to me. Agents say that once an older player takes minimum, he never comes back from minimum land, or very rarely. So when you're dealing with a guy who's at the end of his career, you kind of try to postpone taking minimum as much as possible.
Got it.
Right? So this maintains that he's not a minimum player. $11 million. Hey, I'm still I'm still an 8-figure player in this league. But then also he gets to go play for San Antonio and play with a incredible talent in Victor Wembanyama. And he's going to help them because he's helped every single team he's ever joined other than the Warriors. Like in the first year of Chris Paul, you could look at every team he's played for in the NBA. They were always markedly better than they were the year before.
Yeah.
And so he comes in, he gets to make them better, he gets to make Wembanyama better, and as a result, someone out there is going to say, maybe Chris Paul's the missing link to my thing, and I'll pay him a premium rather than saying, hey, Chris Paul, you want a ring? Come take these pennies, bruh.
Well, I mean, I think now is a good time to, I have a little announcement. I wanted to save it for the end of the A block. Wick Grousbeck is putting the Celtics up for sale. I want to shout out everybody who texted me about this because it got me thinking, actually, Oddball's been great. But I'm going to be leaving to purchase the Celtics. I've made them an offer. They're thinking it over.
Charlotte, I do want to warn you. I'm not going to, pocket check you or try to audit your finances. But beyond whatever it costs you to buy the Celtics, they just locked into a shit ton of new money. You got Tatum with the biggest contract of all time. Let's do this one more time. Yeah. That's $350 million over a 5-year extension. Derek White signed a 4-year, $126 million extension. Of course, the Jaylen Brown extension is kicking in now where he makes up to $304 million. Holiday and Porzingis, they both signed big extensions. You are going to be in for a big ass check that you got to cut every year. And this is for a team that was bought for $360 million in 2002. A pittance in today's sports landscape. Yeah,
look, I mean, I hear you, but I have all of the loose change in my car. I have a can-do attitude. I have a mom who would be great at player development. And, I'll find the 4.599999 billion somewhere else. It's if you dream it, you can do it.
What's the first thing you would do as owner of the Celtics?
I would make sure that if they give out T-shirts, that all of them are always green. I don't want any of those black T-shirts. I don't want any of the white ones. Every T-shirt that they give away will be green.
What's the second thing you'd do as the owner of the Celtics?
Free dining for media members.
There you
always,
go.
But especially during the finals.
Yes. All right.
All right. Cool. Stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Oddball. Amin, I forgot. I have one more thing that I will do as the owner of the Celtics once they accept my offer, which is absolutely no media at all. I don't trust anybody. I will be out of the content game. I will be excommunicated from the content community, Amin, once I own the Celtics.
We just got done giving us free meals. Now all of a sudden we're banned?
Yeah. I'm not, no more engagement farming for me. I have to put away my hoe, my rake, my scythe. Anyway, I'm not a farmer. We have to play a game.
You're a tyrant is what you are. What you just described as getting rid of all the tools of communism and just.
Yeah, I'm buying a team for $4.8 billion. Nobody should have that much money. Speaking of championship hopes, we're going to do a little heat check. We will tell you how much we think teams have heated up their championships hopes in this offseason. First up, the Knicks. Take it away.
Oh, let's go. What's that? A draft lottery? No, right. No. Right in the middle. Right, but where it turns purple. There you go. Right there.
Okay.
Yeah, you traded for Mikal Bridges. That was great. It's a nice fit. We know he gets along, and he's a good defensive player, and he's probably got some offensive skills that can be tapped in. OG Anunoby was the key to them being successful. They brought him back. Is he healthy? I don't know. Can he stay healthy? I don't know. They lost Isaiah Hartenstein, which is a big part of their success. Mitchell Robinson's never healthy. And who else are they going to play? Jericho Sims now? Sorry, Knicks. You're pretty much where you were before, even though you feel a lot better.
Even though you have one more friend. So really, you're miles ahead because the real championships are the friends we have to move on. This is bleak. Let's go to the Mavs. They added Klay Thompson, Quentin Grimes. They lost Josh Green, Derek Jones Jr. Does this stay the same?
I think they're better, and they were already in the finals. So let's take it not quite to the top, but like right below the Larry O'Brien ball. Yeah, they're right there. Right there is perfect. This is a really tough Mavericks thing. The biggest obstacle for them, Charlotte, is they got to play in the West. So there's like all these other teams. So like I could put them there. The problem is there's like 5 other teams that are also like, yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's tough out there in the West. Fun to be in the East right now if you're decent. What do we have?
Well, last one is the Thunder, the Oklahoma City Thunder. They added Alex Caruso, and they added Isaiah Hartenstein. They re-signed Aaron Wiggins and Isaiah Joe to very team-friendly contracts, I might add. OKC now has the third best odds to win the title, according to DraftKings, plus 850.
I'd go all the way to the top, go all the way up. I think that Alex Caruso and Isaiah Hartenstein, I think those are additions that cannot be overstated how important having guys like that on the team. They both are just, they talk about dogs. They're total dogs. Yep. They play hard. They go after every ball, even in like random January games. And that's the stuff that matters. And Oklahoma City is already so good. And now they have slightly older guys they're adding. I almost might just bet on them to win it all.
And to be honest with you, like even their young guys are getting older and more experienced, right? So Jalen Williams is going to be better next year. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to be better. Chet Holmgren is going to be better. They're taking massive steps. This is, I think, your favorite in the Western Conference, particularly after the Nuggets lost Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. That really took a lot of shine off of them.
Big time. 76ers.
Real quick, you want to do the Sixers really quick? We got like 20 seconds.
Put it in like the cold, like medium cold.
Next to the Knicks. Yeah, no. Hey, not Kyle Lowry. Eric Gordon and Andre Drummond don't impress me. You got to fill out a roster now. Go get me some players, not some guys. Hey,
All
by the
right.
way, Michael Jordan's depoy in 1988.
Okay, that's
Fraudulent.
all the time we have for Oddball. Thank you so much for watching.